Hey guys, it's Sarah here with Black Tie and Blush. In just a couple minutes, we are going to have Mandy Davis, an amazing Nashville makeup artist, on with us who works with our team quite a bit. And I just thought that it would be really fun to get to know some of the artists who work with Black Tie and Blush. I always think that having that connection to the people that you're working with is just a really great way for you to get sort of an inside peek into what it would be like for you to work with us. And so this is just something that I think, we're going to do probably ongoing every so often, is just have a little chat with, somebody who works with us quite a bit, and just give you a little bit of an inside look into who we are here at Black Tie and Blush, and so that you can kind of feel like you're making a connection with us. And also we're here to, answer some of those questions that you might have as well. So it looks like Mandy is ready to join us. So I am going to go ahead and see if I can get her to come on. So I wanted to make sure that I could do this smoothly today. And it looks like I'm getting this request and I keep hitting accept. Okay.
I know. I felt like I had to hit it like 10 times before it came on.
Well, it's going to be, a technical, whatever. I don't know.
Fun time.
Anytime I go on live, it's going to be, technical good times.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're doing it.
We're doing it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm so glad you came on. You've always been one of my favorites. You've always been there with me since I decided to start this journey of expanding, my own work as an artist with bridal. And you and I worked together quite a lot before I even got into expanding. And so that's really a lot of how Black Tie and Blush came to be. I mean, you've been like an integral part of it since, the beginning. And I mean, it's not like this big entity or anything, but it's something that's grown over the last few years, I think. And we've got a really close connection, and we've done a lot of work together, and you've always inspired me, and you've always been there for me, and you've just advised me, and just been a really, wonderful friend, and just a fellow colleague in the industry. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any effort when you love the people you work with. So,
Yes, exactly. And that's what makes it so enjoyable too, I think. Oh, it looks like you have a friend who's saying hello.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah. So once again, now that you guys joined, I just wanted to let you know that we came on to introduce Mandy to you. She's a makeup artist here in Nashville, an amazing makeup artist, wonderful YouTube channel. She's an educator. She's a rep for, major makeup companies, and she's just done so much incredible work in her career as a makeup artist. And so she works with us, and I wanted for us to get to know her a little bit and ask her some questions. So you guys who have joined, if you have a question that you've always wanted to ask a makeup artist, this is your chance. I wanted us to try to get to know Mandy a little bit as well, because as I was saying, for those of you who did not, who were not on when I first started blabbing, this just gives you an inside look into what it would be like if you were to work with us. And getting to ask your potential makeup artist some questions is always one of those things, I think, that can kind of put your mind at ease. My friend Brian is on. Brian, how is it going? I'm so happy you're here. Long time no see. So I'm just going to start out with a couple questions, and then you guys, again, if you have anything that you want to ask Mandy, please jump in there, okay? So I did want to ask you first and foremost, just give me a little bit of background about you and kind of how you started in your story.
Okay, so I have always been hey Abby, I have always been a lover of makeup. Like, I was the one, my mom was the Merle Norman, girl back in the day. And so she would always get her makeup at Merle Norman, and I would go with her and beg to have like the gift with purchase, you know, like the little pieces, samples that they gave you. And so I started my own little collection with gift with purchase items. And ever since then, I've just been absolutely hooked. And so I've always loved products. And I think that's where it started, was just my love of products and always wanting to try something new and see if I could find something better than what I had already tried. And, you know, all of the people in my life knew that I was like the crazy makeup lady that had all of the things. And a good friend of mine was getting married down in Florida, destination wedding. I was going to be there anyways. And she's like, I really don't want to have to try to find a makeup artist, you know, in another state. I mean, this was like 11 years ago. So it's not as easy as it is now, or wasn't as easy. And she was like, I know you have all this stuff and you're going to be there anyway. So will you just bring your stuff and do my makeup? And I'm like, okay. Like, I've never done anybody else's makeup before, but sure, we'll give it a go. And I did that, and I left there, and I told Chad, my husband, I said, I think I'm going to quit my job and go back to school because this is what I want to do. And he was like, well, at first he was like, you've done like 2 faces. Like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm positive. Not only do I want to do makeup, but I want to be in bridal. And I knew that from the get-go. So I quit my job and I went back to school, and that was, rest is history. That was 10 years ago. So
I always love that story, and I tell people that story too, because I just love that. I've told so many people that story. I'm like, oh gosh, Mandy, she went and did this bride, and she just came home and she told her husband Chad, she was like, you know, this is what I'm going to do. And I find it so interesting too, because you have a master's degree in education as well, don't you?
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
And I was working in a school, and honestly, it's still one of my very biggest passions is, you know, teaching. But I just kind of have found a way to meld it into my other big passion, which is beauty. And, you know, that's my number one, like, favorite thing to do is educate people on beauty. So.
Well, you are an amazing makeup artist, an amazing educator. So I can tell that you've blended those things together very well. And I know, you know, your husband, Chad, is like such an artist himself, and he can do so many things, you know.
He can do. I tell people all the time, if I didn't love him so much, I'd hate him, because there's nothing he cannot do.
Right. Yes. So I know he understood when you said, okay, this is the direction I'm going to take. So what have you found that you love the most, the very most, in being a freelance artist, or an educator, or just in the industry as a whole?
Probably just never working with the same people like over and over again. And not that that's a bad thing. And I do like the relationships like we have formed and that I have formed with other artists, where I, you know, obviously work with them on more than one occasion. But I'm not going into an environment every time I go to work where I'm surrounded by the exact same people. And I love that, because I love meeting new people. I love like forging new relationships. And I think probably my most favorite thing is kind of watching the evolution of my brides as they go along. Now that I've been in the industry for 10 years, like yesterday, I just booked a maternity shoot for one of my brides. And like, I love that. I love doing maternity shoots. I love doing anniversary shoots. I love watching their kids grow and, you know, being that person that they come back to every time when they need, you know, their makeup done, and just having that trust and relationship. I think that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it's funny you said not working with the same people all the time. I hadn't thought about that on the artist side of things, but I enjoy also meeting new people as far as the clients go, and not. I mean, I work in a salon where I have repeat clients all the time, and I love them. So this is like a completely different type of environment where, you know, I'm meeting somebody new, and then we're not working with them all the time ongoing. But I agree. I love it when we see our brides like 2 or 3 years later. I'm still following them. You know, they've had like 2 or 3 kids. You know, they're all there like the 4th or 5th anniversary. I mean, it's so fun to watch their journey. So I agree with you too. What do you think that you would like for every bride to know before they hire their makeup artist, or before they get their makeup done for their big day?
Um, a couple of things probably. First thing is, and we kind of touched on this yesterday in like the preview of this live, but really the importance of it. Whenever I have a bride, I always like to ask, who did you book first? And it's always like one of two things, or who are like the first three things that you booked. And it's always the venue, which I get. You got to, solidify your date. I understand that. And then the photographer, which I also understand. And then after that, it's like, and the caterer, and the this, and the this, and the this. And hair and makeup is almost always last. And I'm like, if you think about it, you book that photographer second, right? Because your photos are the only thing other than the memories in your head that are going to last from that day. Hopefully generations to come will look back at those photos. It's very important how you look in those photos. Is your makeup the way it's supposed to be able to show up in photos, but also the way it's supposed to be to not look like a clown when you're face to face with people? Like, there's so many things that come that are of importance when you are thinking about how is this wedding going to last in these photos. Mm-hmm. And brides don't often think about that. At least the brides that, I tend to work with, and I've asked that question. I mean, I'm getting inquiries for next month.
Oh, yeah.
It's very important to book ahead of time, because again, like you said yesterday, and this kind of rolls into my next point. If you book ahead of time, you have, a better option of getting a very, skilled, experienced artist versus not. And I do kind of, my second thing was you do get what you pay for a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And I often, and not so much my brides, because obviously my brides end up booking me, but I feel like the industry as a whole, the cost of hair and makeup is not valued like the cost of other vendors, because I think a lot of misconceptions are that you come to the, like us as artists, come to the wedding, we do the makeup, we go home, and that's it. Yeah, that's not it. Like, right. This is a daily business, regardless of whether we are working on clients daily. And it's not even just the amount of hours that we put into it, but it's the things that we have to pay for that clients don't think about. Right. Not only just our kit that we're constantly having to, repurchase things for and restock. But I mean, if you have an artist that's worth a lick of salt, they're going to have liability insurance. They're going to have, all the other stuff that you don't think about that has to be paid for. And it's like any other business. Like we are paid for our time, and our time is not just at the venue. And so I think that's a big misconception when people turn their nose up at, like, really, that's how much you charge? Yeah. And I probably could charge. I know I could charge more. Yeah. So those are probably the two things.
Well, I'd have to agree with you there. And I know it's not the client's concern or their job to know what goes into right. Everything that goes into, bringing them the service that we do. But, I'm hoping that people are starting to change in the way that they look at just the artist community and people who, work in the beauty industry, and that is not a hobby. Right. It's not, right. We're not just out here like, oh, how much fun, I mean, right. But it goes back to, your friend had asked you before you did makeup, right. Would you come and do my makeup, and mm-hmm. You as an artist at that point, you are so far beyond what you, of course you had some talent and some natural ability. I mean, that's clear. But don't you think that what you turned out 11 years ago is a heck of a lot different than what you turn out now? And
well, I should hope so.
Well yeah, and how well you're equipped and how far you've grown, and how that makes a huge difference in the outcome of what the bride is seeing and what they're looking back on in their photos. And I also tell brides, if it's a difference between a few $100s between you know, an artist who is just kind of doing it on the fly or isn't, they're not, there's a difference in artists. So if you're worried about that cost of a few $100s, think
Right.
about 25 years from now. And when you're looking at your photos and loving the way that you look, are you worried about that few $100s?
Right.
It's such a good investment, you know,
Yeah.
to do that right. I agree.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all again for joining us, those who are on, and I would love for you to post any questions that you might have. We're with Mandy Davis, makeup artist here in Nashville. Mandy and I work together with Black Tie and Blush, a company that I had founded a few years back, and she's been a huge part of that since we started. We kind of teamed up a lot beforehand, before we got into, before I started Black Tie and Blush, and so you know, she's been working with me and I've been working with her for years now. And I felt like it was a good chance to start bringing on some of the people that we work with here in Black Tie and Blush. And Mandy is definitely like top of the list, always somebody that, you know, we love and love to recommend to our brides. And so if you have any questions, this is a great time to get to know her a little bit. She could be the person that you book when you book Black Tie and Blush to get your hair and makeup done. So put any questions you have there, but we're just getting to know her a little bit. I would say, so I have some questions here that, you know, I'm kind of like thinking about that I thought we could kind of get to know you a little bit. So I'm wondering if you've ever had your makeup done by someone else for an event.
I have had my makeup done by someone else. I have not had my makeup done by someone else for an event. I actually, let's see, it's almost, I got married about 17 years ago, and Chad was so sweet. He was like, I'm gonna, you know, pay if you want to get your makeup done, let's go do some trials. Like, I'll pay for it and you just go and see what you want. It was I kind of understand like the apprehension that some brides have, because it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yeah.
I came home and Chad was like, I mean, he was like, who are you? Like, it was kind of like that. It was not good. I ended up doing my own makeup on my wedding day. I was like, I can't, you know, I can't do this. So that wasn't good. I have since had a couple of other artists do my makeup just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
But not for like an event. And I think
Yeah.
once you get to be, you know, like an artist and you've been an artist for so long, it's, you know, you just know what you like, you know, what you're comfortable with. And it's not that you don't trust other people to do it. It's just like, you know, I can do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do have a good friend that's a makeup artist that I've known for a very long time, and she's so sweet. She always says, if I ever need anybody to do your, you know, my makeup, I always ask you. And I have done hers for some photo shoots and stuff, because she was just too stressed out to have to worry about it.
Right.
So that makes me feel good. And I do have a couple that I would probably trust. It's just I haven't had to be at that point yet.
Yeah.
So
I feel the same way. And, you know, I never have my hair done by anyone unless I get it colored. And then I just, you know, I'm going to style it myself no matter what I do, because, you know, yeah, you kind of know what you like.
mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way. But Mandy has done, now when it comes to makeup, Mandy's done my makeup.
Yes.
We've had a consultation together where we've sat down and she's gone over everything, and she said, okay, you know, like really just taking down the list of, you know, my likes, my dislikes, my concerns, my challenges, the things like that, you know, taking everything into consideration. Was a really great, like one-on-one, you know, consultation. And then just this product recommendation. She did a demo for me as to like a makeup look that I could do like on the daily. And it was so, first of all, it was really nice, something I could do for myself. I brought a friend and a client of mine, and so we both had ours done together, and that's such a great service to get done, first of all. You did my wedding for my really good friend, or my makeup for my really good friend Jackie's wedding as well. So than anybody, I wanted to do my makeup more than Mandy. But yeah, that one-on-one consultation service is like really a great thing for people to take advantage of, that I don't think people realize you know, is an option. And I think that sometimes people are like, I wish there was somebody I could just have them just go over me and tell me
Right.
what do I need and show me how to do it. And you actually do that.
Yeah.
So.
And it's, people can go to counters and do that. I see a lot of times in like local Facebook groups, people will be like, oh, where can I go do it? And most of the time people respond with, just go to the, Bobby Brown counter or go to Nordstrom and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you are limited to one brand in that case. And I've always said I have favorite brands, but there is not one brand that I can think of where I like and adore every single product that they put out. And so I like to be able to give options from multiple brands. Like, your skin may benefit from one brand of foundation where I feel like the eyeshadows aren't that great at that brand. So I'm going to recommend some eyeshadows from another one. And so, finding a makeup artist that does one-on-one consultations, that's a major kind of pro and a little bit of a higher reason to go to them versus, a counter if you have the option.
Well, in the environment, I mean, you have a home studio set up where you're not dealing with 1,000 other customers who are coming at you and all of the extraneous stuff. It's like you're one-on-one, concentrated on this one person with your favorite products across all different brands, which is also a big question that we get a lot is what product lines do the artists use? And I'm just like, well, what product lines do you use as a person? We all have our favorites, and to stick with just like one brand across the board is like, I can't imagine limiting myself to one brand of anything probably. So we do get that question a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, a lot. Ivana, I noticed she commented and said that she is bringing you to Croatia for her wedding. Oh my gosh. She said you're the best.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, it says, Kalia says, too bad we don't live there. Well, Kalia, we just talked about this yesterday. You don't have to live in Nashville to take advantage of the education that Mandy has and all of the inspiring videos and tutorials and product recommendations. And she goes through different products all the time and reviews them. And there's just a wealth of information. Her YouTube channel is amazing. So, and anytime you come to Nashville, you'd be able to make an appointment with her as well. We'll put all of her information there as well so that you can access everywhere that she is online, and you'll be able to take advantage of what she has online. And then just if anytime that you're here, you just reach right out to her because she's happy to help. What is one piece of advice you would say about like when somebody is about to get their hair and makeup done, like what can they do to set themselves up for success, either months ahead of time, weeks ahead of time, or even like the day of? I mean, that's a broad question.
Yeah.
What are some setup and prep tips that you have?
Yeah, so a lot of times I'll have trial. I always have a trial and with a bride, and they'll be like, what can I do? And I always suggest going to an esthetician for a consultation if you are not already seeing one. But I really, if you can, I suggest doing that like either as soon as you get engaged, if you're not already doing one, or at least 6 months before the wedding. And that way you can be set up with maybe a schedule of facials if you need or would benefit from like a peel or, a dermaplane, which I always suggest going like probably 4 or 5 days before the wedding and getting a good dermaplane, that kind of thing. And then if you're not on any kind of skincare, they can kind of advise you on what kind of skincare. I mean, I can always give you my tips too, but they have, the good micro mirrors and lights that can see everything your skin might need. So that's like for far out prep. I really always advise that, whether or not you feel like you need it or not, because most of the time, if you're going to an esthetician that's worth anything, you're not going to pay for a consultation. Like they're going to tell you what they think, and then you can decide then whether or not you're comfortable with going. But I do think a consultation is always a good thing. And as far as like prep for the big day, really just like there's so many emails that I know Black Tie and Blush sends out and that I send out to my clients, and really just paying attention to those. with the instructions, you know, that we try to give.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those aren't read. And another thing is, and I try to remember to tell all my clients this, unless you come like straight up to me and say something super nasty about my children to my face, I am not going to be offended by anything you say.
Right. Yes.
Like, this is my job. It's not this, you are paying me for a service. If you don't like something about that service, I'm not going to think it's you telling me you don't like me, or that you think that I don't know what I'm doing, or you don't like anything about my work just because you don't like the color of the eyeshadow that I used, right? And I think I know some brides are very afraid to speak up in that case because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They don't want you to think that, you know, they're saying that the look as a whole is awful. And no, I want you to tell me every single thing you like and every single thing you don't like so that we can fix it. That's why we do trials. And so that you can go into your wedding day stress-free about the makeup. There's going to be other things that's going to stress you out, but I don't want you to be stressed out about the makeup. I want the trial to have covered everything. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable telling me anything. I think that's my biggest thing because so many brides are. And usually by the end of the trial, we're so comfortable with each other. I mean, I've basically been sitting in their lap for an hour and a half. So it's like,
you got to get up in there, you know?
Right. That, you know, that most of the time they can tell me, but I always like to tell them anyways. Like, please don't be afraid to tell me if you want something changed. Like, I'm not offended by it. Again, you're paying me for a service. And if you didn't like, you know, if you had an engagement session with your photographer and you hated the pictures, you're paying them enough money to where I'm pretty sure you're going to be like, please, like, let's change this, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not that your photographer is not good. You booked them for a reason. It's just that it's not for you. And it's the same with hair and makeup.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That is a good piece of advice too, that I had not really thought about, but I think putting that out there even more, I think we forget that, you know, clients or brides feel apprehensive to tell us because they're afraid we might take it personally. Mm-hmm. And for those of us who have been in the industry and who realize, you know, really what it's all about, we don't take it personally. Mm-hmm. If you direct us, and we need the direction. We want to know what you want. You know, we want to know what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask for happy. We can ask for inspiration pictures to the cows come home, and they're great, and we can talk you through things, but we're not mind readers. And you know, if you saw a picture and you interpreted that picture a different way than maybe I interpret it, then tell me how that interpretation got lost in translation, right? Exactly. Like, and we'll fix it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's makeup. It comes off and we put it back on.
It's not permanent. Exactly. No. We're not doing tattooing.
I'm not tattooing. No.
That's funny. I mean, it's true too, because I mean, even though pictures are so valuable, what you're seeing and what I'm seeing can be two different mm-hmm. things, you know, mm-hmm. and what I'm focused on and what you see can be totally different things. And it's funny too, because we've talked about this before. A lot of times, somebody's perception of what something is mm-hmm. is totally different than somebody else's. So for example, somebody could be like, oh, I want this really like natural glam. And then when they show you, it's just like full on like stage makeup.
With filters,
like, you know what I mean?
And yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anybody says they want natural glam and then shows me a picture of a Kardashian, I know we've got some chatting to do. Like we need to talk about this a little bit. And it's same with like a smoky eye. Like when I send out my information before my preview appointments, I have a picture. Well, actually it's like 6 to 8 different pictures of versions of smoky eyes. Yeah. Right. And I'm like, if you want a smoky eye, you need to tell me which one of these is your version of a smoky eye, because it's completely different. Like, you know, my version of a smoky eye, and that's just it's a technique. It's not a look, right? Mm-hmm. So there's many different ways that technique can be done. And so it's a lot of communication that needs to be done between your artist and yourself. So if you are a bride and you go to a trial and your artist is like, show me a picture, you show their picture and they're like, okay, great, and nothing else is said, don't be upset if you don't like
there's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
There's going to be a small little, probably a small issue.
Yeah.
By the time.
Yeah.
Well, Mandy, we're going to go ahead and probably sign off here. And you guys who are still on, if you have any questions, this is kind of your opportunity. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Not really.
But Mandy,
You can reach out to me.
yeah, you can reach out as well. We'll put all of the information when I go to post this. If I don't erase the whole darn thing when I'm trying to turn it off, which, you know, that's always a possibility. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm going to try not to. But Mandy, is there anything in closing that you just would like to leave us with before we go?
No, I mean, other than just like, remember that it's your wedding day and it's truly like up until that point, the happiest day of your life, at least it should be. And you don't need to be stressed about really any of your vendors, but especially hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And trust your gut. And if you feel like you're stressed with your hair and makeup artist, then there's nothing wrong with changing artist or moving on. Like, you want your artist to be there to help make everything go smooth and as possible in whatever their, you know, field of expertise is. And if you sit down in your makeup chair and your hair chair and you feel really apprehensive about something, then, you know, maybe that's not the artist for you, and that's okay. Like,
and whatever that means, it's like, you know, I know that this is a time where you're spending a lot of money. You know, the budget is tight, but whatever it takes you to get out of that situation, if you need to, and get on with somebody who is going to do what you want them to do and you're going to feel comfortable with on the day of, you know, that's, I would say you're right. Make sure that you're with somebody who you trust and you feel comfortable with. So, and that's, and we hope that, you know, we are putting out there that you're able to, you know, ask us questions, rely on us. We'll make it as easy as possible for you. And, you know, we are first and foremost thing that is important to us is just making sure that, you know, you're comfortable and that, you know, you're happy. I think that's pretty much the bottom line. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mandy. I appreciate you popping on today. This was so much fun to get to see you. I always love getting to see you. And you guys, thanks so much for joining. I'm going to try to save this and post this. I think I can do it.
You can do it.
Okay. Well, thanks you so
everyone.
much, Mandy. Bye, guys.
Bye.